The Off-White Green Spark Air Force Ones are set to drop very soon. The Off-White Air Force Ones are some of the hardest shoes to get in the sneaker game. Your only two real options to get your hands on this shoe is the Off-White Sight that drops very early in the morning for most people, or Nike sneakers. I think Nike sneakers is the best option for every single person, especially if you live in the US. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can get your hands on a pair of Off-White Air Force Ones. So let's get into it. I'm sure most of you want to hit this shoe for retail because the resale is going to be absolutely insane. I don't know where y'all work, but I do not have this type of money for this shoe. So far, I've been able to hit both of the Off-White Air Force Ones that have dropped on sneakers, which are the blue MCA pair and the University Gold, or also the yellow Air Force One. Both of these pairs I did hit on sneakers, so I'm basically going to be giving you guys what to expect when you're going into a sneaker stash. First off, a sneaker stash is an event that happens on Nike sneakers for very exclusive shoes. Over the entire course of the Nike sneakers app, there hasn't been many of them, so people don't really know what to expect all that much, especially if you're new into the sneaker game or you don't live in the area where a sneaker stash would happen. You've probably never even encountered one. So with the sneaker stash, you have to be in the location that they tell you to. For the yellow Air Force One that dropped, you had to be in Boston, and for the blue one, you had to be at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago. So far, there isn't a confirmed place where you should be for the stash, but the most likely place is Virgil's Brooklyn Museum. I've seen a lot of people talk about this over the past weeks. If I had to guess, that'd be the exact place I'd say as well. Like I was saying before, you have to be in the location for the sneaker stash. If you aren't in the location, there's no way you can cop it. Similar to Adidas Confirmed, if you ever went for that, it'll tell you that you are out of the range where you are able to reserve it. There's a few ways to do this. One, you are either in the location that they tell you to be at the exact time, or two, you can spoof your location, which is the most popular. I'm sure you have heard of spoofing before, but if you haven't, spoofing is basically changing your location on your device to make it seem like you're in that area. This is very popular in things like sneaker passes, Adidas Confirm, where they need you to be in a location at the exact time, because most likely you aren't going to be able to make it to the Brooklyn Museum. Even if you live in New York, you'd basically have to be living probably like across the street from the museum to be there on time. So with spoofing, you could change your location from anywhere in the world. You could be in Africa and change your location to the Brooklyn Museum. Personally, I think this is the best way to do it because at home you have your Wi-Fi. Even if you don't have your Wi-Fi, you have some type of phone data in a good location at your home, or at work, or at school, so you're not dealing with connection issues as much. I remember last year when people went for the yellow Air Force Ones, there were some people at the Boston location and they had no service when they got there. So they ended up driving to the location, being there on time, doing everything by the book, and still missing the shoe. There's one issue that can arise with the sneaker stash. If they enable Bluetooth, you cannot cop while you're spoofed. There's no way around spoofing your Bluetooth. You actually have to be in the location physically, but if they don't enable Bluetooth like the pass drops, then you'll be perfectly fine. So there's a few ways to spoof your location. There is iTools, which is probably the most popular way. It's a desktop application where you can plug in your phone, it connects to your device, and then you can manipulate it from there. As far as I know, the application is free, but I'm not sure if the spoofing is free. They have a professional version of it, which I think costs like $6 or something around there. Even if it's not free, you definitely want to pick up some type of spoofing tool before the drop. Do not try to be cheap and not pay your $6, $7, $8 for $1,000 shoe. That makes no sense at all. Please do not be cheap. Prepare yourself. This is going to be a hard drop as usual. So now let's move on to the type of device that you need. You can pretty much use any mobile device that has the Nike sneakers app on it, but what I recommend is you use an Apple device whenever you can. If you ever use Nike sneakers on an Android, you know that it is just super laggy. Sometimes the buttons don't even come up to purchase. You can't fill out your information. There's just so many things that can go wrong with the Android version of it. The iPhone is most reliable, and personally what I have hit both of my pairs on. And if you're feeling lucky, you can also use two devices. I have an iPhone 13 and an iPhone 6. I've not been able to hit two pairs on two separate devices, not because of any restrictions that I ran into, but simply because it's hard and you need to be fast. By the time you get done checking out that first pair, it's really hard for you to check out the second pair. So what I recommend is you focus just on that one pair. Do not try to use two devices at the same time. You might mess something up. Every click needs to count on this drop. But if you do have time to go for that second pair, you definitely should do it. But like I said, focus on getting a pair first. As far as I know, you cannot use desktop. I think you have to use a mobile device. So after you have your device together, you have your location spoofer ready. Now I'm sure you're wondering, how are you supposed to get your shoes all the way from Brooklyn, New York? Well, based off the previous drops, they actually ship the shoes to you. Now this is not the case for every single sneaker stash. I think I've seen 1 or 2 where you had to actually pick them up at the Nike store in that city. From the yellow and the blue pair, they did ship them to anywhere in the United States. I'm not sure if they ship outside the United States, but make sure that you get a US address. And if you're someone who's gonna try to go for multiple pairs, please do not use the same address in the same card. Try to make it look like you are 2 different people, 3 different people, 4 different people, however you can. And that includes you not being on the same Wi-Fi. It's not proven that they're looking at your IP and looking and see if you got 2 pairs off the same connection, but just to be safe, make sure that one of your devices is on Wi-Fi, the other one's on data, or if you have 2 devices on data, whatever you want to do, just do not use the same information or the same internet connection. And the most important part throughout all of this is make sure that you are set up and ready. Go into your sneakers app, make sure that your name is filled out, your address, your card. Make sure you have a shoe size selected, because whenever you go to purchase a shoe, sometimes sneaker actually grabs that size for you anyways, and you skip an extra step where you have to select a size. So now that we talked about everything that you need, here's a video of someone actually trying to get a pair, just so you know what to expect when the time comes. So the first thing that's going to happen is that you see that it's already loaded into the app, but no buttons are coming up yet, and you see that he is spoofed into the location, which is in Boston. So whenever stock goes live, he'll be ready. And now you see that he's constantly refreshing, and now the stock has been loaded. Let me just rewind just a little bit. You see that they give you these instructions. You want to go ahead and just click skip instructions. You do not need to read this. If you read it, it's going to cost you some time. So after you skip those instructions, you see right here it says stash near you, and then claim your pair by hurrying up to one of these locations. It's going to give the available locations at the bottom, and you see at the bottom it does say Boston. Then it goes through all the profile stuff. You click OK, go through it. And then when you scroll to the bottom, you're going to see Boston. That is the location that you want to click. In this case, it's going to be Brooklyn. So you want to click that, and it's going to take you to this next page. And then you see at the bottom, it says I'm here. As soon as you see that, you want to click I'm here. I'm pretty sure you were able to do this even if you aren't in the location. But if you are in the location, when you click I'm here, it's gonna say found them. Whenever you see this found them screen, you know that you are good. It is now time to cop. From here on out, it's gonna turn into a regular sneakers drop, but in this way, it's gonna be first come, first serve. You see he clicked the price on the bottom. He's doing his Face ID because he already had his information already filled out, and that's how quick it is. And I'm sure it's processing even though we can't see it. And then the got him screen comes up right after that. And then that's it. It's as simple as that. Going throughout this process, I know it's gonna be hard. Your adrenaline is gonna be running, but make sure that you stay calm. The yellow pair dropped on July 10th. If I were you, I'd be very aware and near my phone at all times. Make sure you follow some type of Twitter accounts or join a cook group where you can be alerted that they drop. I don't have any recommendations for cook groups off the top of my head, but if you wanna just stick to the basic free stuff, I recommend following some of these Twitter accounts. They are very quick and very informative. Whenever the shoes release or look like they're about to release, they will notify their followers that it's going to happen. So that's pretty much it for today's video, man. I appreciate you guys for sticking around. If you enjoyed this video, it helped you out in any type of way, make sure you like and subscribe. Comment down below if I missed anything, if you have any other questions, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.